One of my biggest and proudest achievements was buying a house at 20 years old. This was a dream of mine ever since I want to say 17. And today I'll just be telling you guys the story on the whole situation with the house. It's kind of a funny story. So at 17, I just loved going to model homes, open houses, just look at other houses. I started working full time at 16, but I would spend my money recklessly. At 17, I started saving up my money and putting some money into the market, saving some money in my savings account, and just collecting cash to hopefully buy a home when I'm in my early 20s. That was my goal, and that was what I was working for. So, when I was 19 and 20, during second and third year of university, I took on many jobs. I was trading on the side. I was working Build My Brand. I was working a few TA jobs at the same time. I was working a full-time co-op. I don't remember exactly. So I had private terms and I had government working terms. So I worked 3 co-op terms, stacked up some cash there, and my goal was to start building my empire. I had collected around $30,000 in cash, ready to buy my home. Obviously, nowadays, that's not going to cut it. I ended up buying my home in 2022, and the market was pretty inflated at the time. I did get blessed with an interest rate of 3.3% at the time. I bought right as the Fed started raising rates, so I bought it right before all that. My dad ended up giving me a loan, the other half of the home. I ended up putting around $70,000 down as a down payment on a condo. I'll show you guys the house. I ended up putting $70,000, including lawyer fees, transfer tax, which all came from my pocket, the inspection as well. All of that was roughly 20% of the $330,000 home I bought. I'll show you guys a video and pictures of the house. So the funny part of the story is I did not tell my mom anything about the whole process. Only my dad knew, and my dad didn't want any of the headache. So I dealt with the bank and I dealt with the agent. So I was scrolling through houses. I had an agent in my hometown in Ottawa, as well as Gatineau on the Quebec side, and I was going back and forth with both agents, and I bid on 2 homes. I ended up getting heavily outbid. It just wasn't in my budget. It didn't make sense. I did all the accounting before even putting any offers up. So I would check how much rent is in that area, how much property taxes, and my whole goal was to break even on a monthly basis. So I was blessed enough to actually cash flow in the home I bought. So I cash flow around 220 something dollars a month, something like that. And it worked out for me because nowadays with the interest rates, you cannot, even with 20% down, I don't think you can even break even. So I was very fortunate with that. The first 2 homes I bid on, I got outbid. The third home was very funny because I was actually in the office working on my co-op job. I kept scrolling through houses and sending them to my agents saying, what do you think? What do you think? So I ended up putting a blind offer of $330,000 when the house was listed at $290. I didn't even tell my dad I put the bid on that. So I put the bid up. That was in the morning. I would receive a response later that night, either if I won the bid or not. So it was around 7 p.m., I want to say. I was sitting on the toilet shitting, and then I receive a text from my agent. Congratulations, you won the bid on the house. My dad had no clue that I put the offer. My mom had zero clue about this whole process because I know if I told her, she would just try to talk me out of it in a good way, though. She doesn't want me to have all that responsibility. But I like the pressure and I like the responsibility at this young age. I think this home has taught me a lot so far throughout the almost 3 years of me owning it. My heart dropped on the toilet seat and I started panicking and stressing, which I rarely do. I remember saying, what the hell did I just do to myself? Like, yo, am I even ready for this? I started asking myself a million questions. And then I'm like, you know what? No matter what, I'll figure it out. This is a great moment for me. I remember texting all my friends. They didn't even know about the bid or anything. So I texted them that I got the house. It wasn't official because I didn't sign on yet, but basically it was my decision to make. So I kind of celebrated a bit. I had friends over. We were watching, I believe, a hockey game at the time. I was very stressed and I didn't really enjoy that night. I remember barely sleeping and just asking myself a million questions. But hey, ended up figuring it out. Everything worked out. I took that leap of faith, believed in myself, and made everything work. Everything works from an accounting standpoint, from a location standpoint, and tenant standpoint. Everything is fine. I've literally had the same tenant for 3 years. Amazing guy, pays literally within the hour that I text him every single time, which I also did all the interviews for the home. I remember lining up for a weekend around 8 showings, and he was, I believe, the fourth one, and I just took him. The whole process I took care of, and it taught me a lot throughout the process. It gave me a lot of confidence that things are possible to achieve at a young age. And I remember being very happy and proud of myself for what I just did. So I got the keys handed over 2 months later, got the tenant in, and had the showings that weekend. Made sure that he could send the payment by the end of the month so I can cover mortgage right from the beginning, and make sure no payments come from my pocket. All in all, this was just a quick story time. Funny story of one of my biggest accomplishments and a big achievement of mine. If there's one thing I want to tell you guys is believe in yourself, take that leap of faith. You can do it.